They wanted to hear your long-winded, Mr. Goldwyn, so
Hopefully be short.
1 second there, Mr.
It
Goldwyn.
is.
We have anybody for public forum? No public forum? All right, we'll move right to our consent agenda. The minutes, the monthly financial statement, and nutrition is all in here. Do you have any questions, concerns? If none, we'll consider that approved, and we'll go into our regular agenda and our superintendent's report.
Now we can go, and we'll start with academics.
It's exciting.
I know.
Tonight, you will be voting on our math textbook adoptions. I wanted to bring to your attention, of course, we've talked about this earlier this school year, that math standards will be totally new next year. We will be having new math standards, and therefore the state has spent millions of dollars on instructional materials for our schools in the state of South Carolina. And so our schools have attended standards training, they've attended math caravans, they've done virtual math caravans where they've looked at the books, they've had samples sent to them, they've gone through those, and our schools have made a recommendation on what they would like for their instructional materials as they present these new math standards next year. K through 5 at the elementary school has requested you to approve iReady. 6 through 8 at the middle school has also requested iReady. And then the high school, for the most part, has requested all of the Savas Learning books. The only one is the Applications and Modeling. It is a B.W. Walk book, but that is actually the only one that the state approves, so that's the only option we have. There's a few books that have those stars by them, Discrete Mathematics and Reasoning and Mathematics. Those, the Blitz or Savas Learning, is the only book that was approved by the state. The way the state went about this is they had different periods to where they brought in teachers, they brought in community leaders, they brought in a wide variety of people to look at these books and go over to make sure that these books are 100% aligned with our state standards. Typically, when you have a textbook adoption, you get books that are close, but not always. Usually it's around the 85% mark. But every book, to be able to get on the South Carolina textbook adoption this year, they had to be 100% aligned. So we know that the textbooks that our schools will have, regardless of which one we picked, would be aligned to the state standards. So we're looking forward to that. That's probably one of the first times we've had that in my lifetime of having them aligned 100%. So these are the adoptions that you'll be voting on tonight. Of course, iReady, we already use the iReady platform. That was one of the selling points for a lot of our teachers, that they already know the platform, they're already familiar with it, and it'll just be an easy transition now to where we will actually get the curriculum that goes along with the other iReady part. For the Savas Learning, we already adopt a lot of Savas Learning textbooks in our district, so we're not new to Savas. We know their platform also. All of these have not only the paper format, but they also have a digital format that goes along with them. So I believe that the adoptions that the schools have recommended are adoptions that will do our students well. Just to give you a reminder for some early spring testing that has started, SEALT has started, and they're working on that as we speak. They've done some testing last week in SEALT, doing some this week. And again, a reminder, the SEALT is a test for our students that do not take, there are special ed students that do not take the SE Ready, they take SEALT. My EGDs is a 4K test that they have to test the first 45 days of school, and then they have to test the last 45 days of school. So they'll be doing those throughout the rest of this school year in 4K. The pre-SAT for 9th and 10th graders will be tomorrow. April 10th will be ASVAB for our 10th and 11th grade students, and also April 10th will be the Career Readiness WIN test. Those are two tests that our students take to qualify to be career ready. So those are tests that we've been taking for a while. iReady formative assessments. iReady formative assessments are required by the state. We have to do it 3 times. We have to do it in the fall, we have to do it in the winter, and we have to do it in the spring. So we have gotten to the point to where formative testing is right around the corner. We will, at the elementary school for 4th grade, actually today's the 24th, right?
Yes.
So they started today for reading, tomorrow they'll do math, then 3rd grade will do it next week on April 1st and 2nd, and then 5th through 8th grade also will start next week. Our kindergarten 1st and 2nd grade, we wait a little bit later to do those because they don't have state testing, so that just gives us a little bit more time to allow them to continue the standards that they're going through to get a true assessment of where they'll be at for next year. We do our formative for 3rd through 8th a little bit earlier because that gives us an idea of where our students are at and what we still need to do before SC Ready. So we'll be getting those results in over the next few weeks, and our teachers and staff will be having data meetings to look at what our students need to do to prepare for SC Ready. Speaking of SC Ready, May will be here before you know it. It is hard to believe that April will be here next week, and we will begin state testing in May. For JES and JMS, SC Ready Writing will be May 1st. ELA Part A will be May 6th, and ELA Part B will be May 7th. SC Ready Math will be May 13th, and then SC Ready Science will be May 14th, and that is for our 4th and 6th graders. Only our 4th and 6th graders take SC Ready Science. And then our 8th graders in the middle school will be taking their Algebra 1 EOC on May 21st. And then as you notice in the yellow, the high school will also be taking their EOC courses. The Writing for English 2 will be May 6th. The reading portion will be May 7th, and then Biology May 14th, U.S. History May 15th, Algebra 1 May 20th. And then before you know it, the school year will be almost over. And then senior exams May 19th through the 20th, and underclassmen exams May 28th through 29th. This school year has seemed to have flown by this year. It is hard to believe that we're already talking about end of year testing, but it is here and it is coming quickly. So our teachers and our staff, they are preparing for that. They're finishing up the standards that they haven't covered, and then they're taking those formative assessments so that they can look at what our students' mastery is and what gaps we need to fill before the end. Any questions for academics this evening? Thank you so much.
Ms. Willis?
Okay, just gonna go over briefly a few things. We've only gotten one projection in thus far. That's the Ways and Means projection. It's a little lower than normal, and that usually follows the pattern. The House will be a little more, and then the Senate will kind of be a mesh between the two. In the Ways and Means, they're projecting a $1,500 per sale increase in the teacher salary schedule. We actually got some projections today from the Senate, and the Senate's looking at moving it up even more than that. But one thing that the Ways and Means is saying is they want to do away with the bachelor's plus 18 category. Right now, you get paid a bachelor's. When you hit bachelor's plus 18, there's a slight bump. Then master's plus 30, and doctorate. But because they're trying to move up the bachelor level to entice people in, it's kind of overflowing that little bachelor's plus 18. So they're actually removing that category. Next, we'll have the first reading of the budget next month at the board meeting, and I'm hopeful that we'll have some good information there. One of the things that we have to, that's been in mind is we've been meeting with everybody. One is the enrollment, we've talked about that. But we're losing some grant funding that's ending this year. One is the Stronger Connections grant, and that's the grant that we had in connection with Florence 3 and Florence 2 that allowed us to have a few positions. Of course, Easter ended on 9/30, but we were able to utilize some of those funds for the first quarter. The CATE program allowed us to do, since we had a new program, which is the health science that y'all went and toured this afternoon. We were able to do some salaries in that. Normally that is not allowed, but the first year of a program you're allowed to do that. So we utilized that this year. We're losing the DHEC nurse grant because it's just not up for renewal, and we do not qualify for renewal under the EDA at this point. So some of those grants we're losing, which is going to affect where we have to move salaries from into the general fund to absorb some of those. One of the things that we did institute this year that has been very positive is giving each school a permanent sub. Substitutes they're always scrambling and trying to get to them before everybody else. So we allocated one for each school, and they're paid as a long-term sub, and they report every day. And I think from everything I've heard and the evaluation that we've done, it's cost effective, the same as doing it where they just call them in randomly. It's actually saving us a little bit of money this way. And so it's been very helpful in the schools to have especially a substitute that the students are familiar with, and not having to relearn techniques and the personalities of the different subs that come in. Are there any questions for me on finance? Mr. Kennedy?
Thank you, Ms. Willis.
Alrighty. Facilities and grounds update. This past week, we met with Schneider Electric to do the kickoff meeting for phase 2. They anticipate the bidding envelope work to begin at JES in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And the design process is underway for the district-wide HVAC control system. Some upcoming facilities projects that we have. JES HVAC upgrades, we're beginning that process now of assessing what we have and what we need. RFP will be coming soon to replace 6 units in the gym and 17 units throughout the campus at the elementary school. We've got quotes back on some painting. So as you guys are aware, we've done a lot of work at some of the other schools now. It's the elementary school's turn, so that's why you see a lot of stuff here for them. Painting of the hallways, cafeteria, all the exterior doors, and then we've got a little bit of painting left to finish at the high school. Exterior doors there, and we got some new doors in the office that need to be painted there as well. The track resurfacing project, they came out last week. They put a machinery out there to see how the subsurface is doing. It's better. It's not quite there. They anticipate that next month in April they should be able to resume there. We're close on that. We got to get the asphalt down and the surface, and they're done. All the interior sports for the center are already complete, so we're closer than it looks on that one. And Mr. Paul Graves retires at the end of the month as custodian at the high school. We have hired Miss Harmony Powell to fill that vacancy. Technology update. We're migrating from Clever to ClassLink. This is a program that the students use every day. Basically, they log in there and it gives them quick and easy access to all the other programs that they use. ClassLink is covered by the state. We're looking at it now. It should also save us some money on some of the other account creation automation processes that we currently pay level data for. So that's a plus as well to the budget. We are completing the full migration in Windows 11 for all the computers in the district. And custodial and child nutrition staff have begun using a new electronic time card system. That's going well thus far. Child nutrition update, new breakfast menu at the high school has been very successful. The kids seem to like it. We have more than tripled the amount of kids eating breakfast in the morning over there. It's so popular that the middle school kids are a little jealous that they don't have the same menu. So next year at the middle school, we're implementing the same breakfast menu for them as well. And there'll be a slight structure change after spring break in child nutrition. We're reducing down from 3 managers to 2. That will help the budget a little bit as well. Ms. Tara Lewis will be the manager for both the middle and high school. And Felicia Brown is moving from the middle school to the elementary school. All right, y'all know with Schneider Electric, we got some new logos for the district. The school leadership met with them and they have come up with new logos for each of the schools that you see there. Very similar to the district logo here, but it's a nice refresh. We've now got those in all different formats for various printing or embroidery or anything like that. So, and that was all school decision. I think that came out well. Any questions, comments, concerns?
The elementary school gym floor. What's going on with that?
That will begin as soon as school gets out.
Okay.
So they're in the process, Schneider's in the process now of their final processing with which contractor is going to do that, but it's on track. They're tracking that to be complete well before our deadline. We've got some contractors coming out in the next week or so. There's some boards in there that need to be replaced before painting. But when the painter was here last week, they looked at it. They're good to go. They're ready to start doing some of the painting that I mentioned as soon as spring break. So we'll see a lot happening over there in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Thank you. Starting right from your face. Okay, a legislative update here. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the South Carolina High School League and some of the rules that have come out, but there is a transfer rule. And under the new guidelines, what it says is student athletes may transfer to another school without penalty as long as the transfer occurs before the official start of practice for their sport. What they're trying to do is give each student throughout their high school career one transfer with no penalty. After that one transfer, then you'll be deemed ineligible and the rule will apply that you have to sit out for a year. Additionally, starting in the 26-27 school year, high school seniors who transfer will be required to sit out for 22 days before they can compete. So if they wait to their senior year, there's going to be a big ineligibility at the beginning of that season. And with all of this, there is a bill out there that proposes to eliminate the South Carolina High School League. We don't think that'll be a good thing, and I have reached out to legislators to voice our opinion, but that bill is out there, so stay tuned. The strategic compensation grant, you may have heard a little bit about this. I know I had it in the last board meeting packet that we received it. Several PD area schools received it. The state received $5 million. They had over $40 million worth of requests for strategic compensation. Only 29 districts in the state receive a portion of the strategic compensation pilot for the first time. And the purpose is to reward educators when the students are successful on the end of year test, and it acknowledges the impact teachers make on academic growth. You could qualify for this grant in one of three areas. First one being the state collaboration model, which is based on SC rated growth in grades 4 through 8. The second way was excellent in teaching, and that's tied to the interim assessments in kindergarten through 8th. And the third was the district design model, which had you create your own. This being the pilot year, you got priority points if you went with the state collaboration model. This is our first time, so we signed up for the state collaboration model and we received it. With this, however, we're only getting the teachers that teach grades 4 through 8 will be the only ones that receive any money, and they have to teach ELA or math. And they're very strict on how it's calculated. They calculate it using the added value method. The student can only be on one roster, and they take that roster for each kid per subject. So if somebody helps a kid, if a kid's on this roster, that person that's helping won't get the compensation. The third grade, because there's no growth, they won't get the compensation. So it's only showing the growth periods. It's only 3 through 8, so the people who are in tested grades in high school won't get the compensation for the grant. So once this comes out, they will calculate and they will send us the amount of money each teacher is supposed to get. Under this particular model, the ones who are eligible in grades 4 through 8 that teach ELA or math, they could receive an average of $300 per tested student if they meet that criteria. Now, added value is not as easy to meet as you think it may be. It's not just growth. There's a calculation that goes with it. So, I am making a recommendation to expand the grant a little bit. Met with Ms. Willis and Mr. Goins, and we believe this is something we could do. We would love to include all teachers who are responsible for students on a roster in a tested grade level for ELA or math. That expansion would include 3rd grade ELA and math teachers, 6th grade science since that's tested, and end of course tested areas, which would be algebra, US history, biology, and English 2. We couldn't do what they do, but what we are recommending is that we compensate those teachers $50 per student if the child scores met or above in 3rd grade ELA or math or 6th grade science, and $50 per student who scores C or higher at the end of course in English 2, algebra, US history, or biology. So we'll talk about that later, but I wanted you to understand why I'm making that recommendation. Okay, Florence County passed an ordinance on Thursday morning, ordinance number 71-2024/25. And with this, they are authorizing the purchase of certain real property from the city of Johnsonville, comprising the city hall building of the city of Johnsonville, and the sale of such building to Florence County School District 5 under an installment purchase agreement between Florence County and Florence County School District 5, and other matters relating hereto. The first reading was on March 20th, and there was no opposition. There will be a second reading in April and a third reading in May, and once that third reading is passed, it's done. So that's where we are right now with that. Update on the 5th grade move to Johnsonville Elementary School. The schedule is in the works. We have met with food service, capability, seating, everything's been confirmed. Faculty's been notified, public's been notified, space has been appropriated. Teachers and faculty are currently being assigned. We will be meeting on March the 26th to finalize the transportation changes, make sure our daily schedule, we might have to add a few minutes of time to that school day, and the other logistical concerns like making sure we have enough desks or the custodians. So we'll finalize everything with that on March the 26th. And finally, upcoming events. We have a family game night at 5 p.m. on April 8th. Special Olympics coming up, and what they've been working on so hard, the spring musical Cinderella. They'll have 2 showings, one on Saturday and one on Sunday, the 12th and 13th. We'll have the JES Daddy-Daughter Dance, and then 18th is a half a day for students for prom and spring break. So April's another packed month. Any questions for me? And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Prosser. Thank you, and thank the staff of Johnsonville, for all. Moving along to our 4-action agenda, the overnight field trip. This is the Beta Club.
I make a
Yes.
motion that we approve the overnight field trip request for the junior beta club.
A second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. We have a motion, probably second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, have the same right? Hearing none, that's passed. I will entertain a motion to move into executive session.
I'll make a motion that we move into executive session.
I'll second.
Got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion to exit the executive session.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we have some action, coming out of executive session, and the first is, our administrative contract recommendation, recommendation B. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve, administrative contract recommendations, Exhibit B.
I make a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving right along, we have, certified contract recommendations.
I make a motion that we accept certified contract recommendations, exhibit C and D.
I second.
We got a motion properly second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed to have the same right, hearing none. We will go to personnel recommendations for hire.
I make a motion, we accept personnel recommendations of hire candidates A, B, C, and D.
Second.
We have a motion that's properly second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed to have the same right, hearing none. Resignations.
I make a motion that we regretfully accept the resignations.
I second.
We have a motion properly second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed to have the same right. And the final is student releases.
Make a motion, we accept the student releases.
I second.
We have a motion that's properly second, all in favor, aye? Opposed to have the same right. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, folks.